Yo, yo. Remember what he said too, a dedication to the independent woman. You know, he said, I see you. And this is just a part two for me. We kind of picking up on where we left off about the teammate situation where we touched on, homosexuals and everything, right? But low key, I just want to say women were kind of primed in a sense, in a seductive way, about being, independent, working hard, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, did it backfire to a certain extent or to a certain degree, Cause like I say, if you don't expect that from no dude and you play aggressive, like I say, you may be that chick, like I say, almost, on the lines of like, I'll change him, I'll fix him up a little bit. He may be looking a little, rough around the edges, but I get him cleaned up, you know. And you can't tell me some women ain't went in there with that mentality, And they got guys like he say, only kind of woman that I want, So it's like, in a sense, you may have certain men who prey on that, I love her because she got her on, you know what I'm saying? And this is why I say it was prime, I got it. And you may have that mindset. It's cool. I got it. Don't chill. I got it. Because, and I think big girls was catching slack at one point, you know what I'm saying? And men, and because that was kind of, I guess, the thing, back then. It's like, okay, you may have had some women, quote unquote, tricking on men, and, back then it was like, oh, well, it's because she plus size, so she got to do it. You know what I'm saying? She got to spend a little bit to get her due. But you started having these beautiful women paying their bills on time. They say, I ain't looking at him to save me. I ain't, like I say, I ain't the type of chick that's out here gold digging, even though I may look, back then may look like what you consider a gold digging type of chick. Now I got my own. I got my own business. I got my own money. I work for everything I got. You know what I'm saying? And again, taking pride saying that shit pay for it. And for men, okay, that's the only kind of chick I want right there. You know what I'm saying? She ain't looking nothing out of me. She got what she need. I ain't got to provide her that house and that home or get her that car. She got all of that. But shoot, she can do a little something for me though. Shit, I ain't got no car, or I ain't got a newer car, so I can get there. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, here it is. A chick may see that and be like, shoot, I sure could use a man around the house. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's like I said, I touched on the fact that, women want to be so equal, and in certain instances, you know what I'm saying? And it's almost like they fall victim to, some of the things that, vow that would never happen. You know what I mean? And so, or, certain things that they may have seen like, oh, that couldn't be me. You know what I'm saying? Or, there's a term out there for it, you know what I'm saying? But essentially, when the shoe is on the other foot, it ain't so, don't look so good, do it, So, like I said, at the end of the day, it's like, if you got women that's priding themselves on this, and a certain, like I said, to a certain extent too, like, how can you knock a man for playing the game the way he played if you miss independent, but don't look at him as a homosexual, because at some point you let that man in your house, regardless of what his circumstances was, whether you thought you could build a bear or or like I say, saw the potential, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, like, I guess try not to get tricked off the streets. Don't get tricked at your spot about, being this independent woman. Granted, like I said, this song was produced, seductively. You know what I'm saying? And men just take advantage of that women that, I got it. And y'all in the club, I got it. And don't be spending on your friends either. You know what I'm saying? But get you a teammate at the end of the day. That's what it boiled down to. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for you and your girls to all be successful, but shoot, you know, like I said, y'all all may be dealing with homosexuals at the end of the day too, you know. So don't be mad at that man, because like I said, he found that loophole. But you got it. You got it. You got it, girl. You got it.